Hello and welcome to MLOps Minutes. In this episode, I'm going to talk about 4 best practices in unit testing. The idea is to point you in the right direction so that you can save time. So here we go. First best practice, the idea is that your unit tests must be resilient to refactoring. Indeed, when you run tests, you're going to have inputs and expect outputs. The idea is that everything is internal mush, so how it works shouldn't impact the unit test. You can refactor, change deliveries, change algorithms. It doesn't have to break all your unit tests. Here's the first example, is if you take training pipelines, as we generally do in data science, we're going to chain together little boxes, steps with perfectly defined inputs and outputs. If we take the code here, in general, each little box will be isolated in a directory. And if I take here the little directory evaluate, we'll be able to cleanly test each little box, which is completely independent of the others. And that's really perfect for unit testing. And each little box here, we know what its inputs are, and we know exactly what we want as output. There's really nothing better for unit testing. And the internal turmoil of what's going on. In fact, it doesn't matter. You're supposed to be able to refactor this code without it affecting your unit tests. Here's a second example. Let's take my job class again with my public doJob method. What happens is that I've only tested this public doJob method, whereas there's a private merge data frame method. So why? Because tomorrow in your code, you're going to have lots of private methods specific to your own internal workings. And if you put in specific unit test code to test all the cases of your what's going to happen is that you'll already be testing cases that will never make it into production. Remember, in production, you go through this public interface, not the private one. And if you refactor your code tomorrow, all your tests will break, which means you'll be coupling your code completely to your tests, and that's exactly what we don't want. We want tests to save us time, and if you couple your tests to your own internal mess, your code becomes unmaintainable, and that's really not what we want. Now for my second point on unit testing, which somewhat contradicts the first point. Point, i.e. in the future, your code may grow in size, and you're going to reach a number of test cases that could be gigantic, 10,000, 100,000. It could even go to infinity. In this case, it means that your code is big enough, and you've obviously decoupled it, so you've created other classes, other functions. And in this case, you need to isolate certain functionally specific parts, typically filters or functions that require a lot of test cases, and isolate these functions, which are generally public, and run tests on them. This way, you'll cover almost all your cases. Third point, what happens here is that when we've made implementations, we've made default implementations such as default panda or default random, which recall the native functions which really do disk writes, and therefore it is not testable unitarily. And maybe you don't want to test these classes in your code covers. That's okay, that's life, you can't test them. The best way to test these classes is to set up integration tests. In other words, you deploy your applications on ISO production environments, and you're going to run real tests that really test disk writing. This is what we call integration testing. That's it, there's no miracle. Last and fourth point, very important, is that your tests are code. And in fact, you can make bugs in your tests. The idea is that your tests must also be clean and respect the rules of clean code. Typically here, for my class job, with my method doJob, I have 2 test cases. The case where random number is greater than 5, strictly speaking, we return data frame on the right. And if it's less than or equal to 5, we merge the left and right data frame. Now, I've only tested one case. To test the second case, I could very well duplicate my function, exchange my value, retry here, put 4, swap my expected data frame. But that's not clean. It's duplication, to be banned. What I'm going to do is import a small parameterized library beforehand. And I'm going to add an attribute here, parameterize expand. So I can add my little test cases. So what I'm going to do is I've got my first case where I've returned 6 in value. And now I'm waiting for this one in the expected data frame. As a parameter to my method, I'll be able to receive 2 properties. The random number and the data frame I'm expecting. All I have to do is delete this. That's it. I need to import parameterize. And I'm off. What happens is that I can now run my test, Ktrops Alt 5, with my shortcuts configured, and I've got a unit test running. Now the second case, the case where I want to be less than or equal to 5. Let's put 4. I'm missing a little comma, and I know I'm going to merge the data frame on the left with the one on the right. So I think I'll flip that. There, a comma. Here we go, execute. What's happened is that now effectively I've got 2 test cases running, and I haven't no duplication of code at all. So I'm very happy. My test remained clean. There's still one tribute that doesn't fit. So I'm going to rename my test. So I'm not very expected data frame. Here goes. My do job should returns my expected data frame, which I've configured here. They're perfect. I'm happy. I've followed my 4 best practices. Thank you and see you soon for more videos.